This video focuses on the last two of these 3 points. There are lots of other videos on the Climate Web YouTube channel that go into depth in terms of the specific topical information you can access in the Climate Web. Depending on the level at which you're teaching, you may be primarily interested in accessing the very large collection of teaching resources we've pulled together in the Climate Web. Those resources include a massive diversity of online courses and their supporting materials, including videos and all kinds of other materials and websites. But where the Climate Web is uniquely powerful is in helping to explore and teach climate change as a wicked problem. First, there's a lot of general wicked problem information in the Climate Web in terms of the overall literature, including other efforts to map out wicked problems. This is an obesity system map. And this is a map of the Afghanistan conflict that was ridiculed even within the military for its complexity. But I suspect a climate change map would be even more complicated. What's interesting is I've never seen an analogous map for the climate change problem. If you have seen it or have it, I'd love to see it. Please send it along. We know that any climate change map would be pretty darned complex, reflecting the fact that climate change is often referred to as the ultimate wicked problem. Traditionally, we tend to teach individual slices of the climate change issue, approaching it from one disciplinary perspective or another. Now, that's very understandable and it makes a lot of sense, but the Climate Web can really help change that by literally pulling down the silos we're constantly talking about needing to pull down for dealing with problems like this. For example, here are just some of the aspects of the climate change problem that you can explore in the Climate Web. The Climate Web can give students a huge head start on really understanding the nature of the climate change problem and how one might actually make progress on climate change, and perhaps let them do considerably more advanced work in almost any class related to climate change because we've already curated the database of climate knowledge in the Climate Web. I'll give an example from my own climate change mitigation class at George Washington University. You can see an overview of the class here in the Climate Web. And this goes into more detail in an expanded view. Each week's thoughts link to the required reading materials for the week below the thoughts. You can see it there in the image. But each week's heading, week 1, week 2, week 3, also points students to where they can go for more in-depth information, usually by linking that thought to several other relevant index entries based on whatever the topic is that we're covering that week. The bottom line is that students can access in seconds or minutes information on almost any climate change issue that they would otherwise have to spend hours looking for and wouldn't do so. The way anyone can do the same in the Climate Web in terms of organizing information the way I've done for my own class is through our Climate Web doorway option. There are videos on the channel that explain doorways into the Climate Web in much more detail. This slide walks you through the basics of what we're doing with the doorways. Take a look at the other videos and follow up with us if you want to take advantage of the Climate Web to approach teaching climate change as a wicked problem in a totally new way based on having the Climate Web available. Thanks.